Assalamu alaikum, good evening and welcome. This is your host, SABIA KHATUN, bringing you Ekota Academy's International Women's Day for 2021. Ekota meaning unity. I am surrounded by strength, resilience, beauty, and love. Just a few personifications of you lovely ladies, extraordinary, amazing, and the very existence of women, which should be celebrated not only today, but every day. To mark the contributions, that's why we have this International Women's Day dedicated to us. The day observes women's success, part in cultural, political, social, and economic developments. And it will be marking and acknowledging the awareness of rights and gender equality. So what has been your greatest achievements? What contributions have you made that has immense resilience that you have shown? And today we are using the purple color, which represents and signifies justice and dignity. This year is all about 2021, choose to challenge. I want to say a little bit about what Ekota is. It's a community organization. It's been operating for over 7 years. And the key ethos is about empowering people through sports, education, and Ekota runs a range of sporting activities, including football and cricket. Guess who for? Female only. Working with thousands of people in the community, impacting many lives. Ekota truly believes in power and value of women. And also, it's a very rare sport that this organization has an all-female leadership team with all their trustee positions, the chair, the secretary, and treasurer posts all held by women. Ekota has a number of female sporting coaches, works to role model and encourage female participants in sports. Now, they hold this event to celebrate and to continue their commitment in empowering women, with the hope that this event leads to further positive work and connections. I would like to introduce you the chair of Ekota Academy, Sultana Rahman. She is an award-winning leader, has a huge range of leadership experience, currently one of the most senior leaders from an ethnic minority background in the London NHS system. She works as a director in the NHS and is currently leading the COVID vaccination program. Can we all please give a warm welcome to Sultana Rahman? Hey. Welcome, Sultana.
Thank you, SABIA. Thank you for that brilliant introduction. And firstly, I'd just like to welcome everyone to this amazing event on one of my favourite days of the year, when we get to celebrate women in a range of ways and really reflect on our experiences, and through events like this, share them and learn from each other and hopefully encourage each other. I'm really grateful that you've given that overview of who Ekota is and what we do. That, as you've explained, that female membership of our senior leadership team, the work we do, we work with all the communities, so it's not just females. We very much want to encourage female participation in sport. We very much want to empower women within our communities and the groups that we work with. It's so essential to what we do and what we want to give back and where we want to see our communities growing and developing. I gave you a little bit of an overview about Ekota. I will just take a little few minutes to introduce myself as well. And I think thank you again for giving that great overview. As SABIA said, I do work in the NHS as a director. It's quite a complex and challenging role, let's say. And in getting to where I am today, it has been quite hard to get to this position. And it's been quite, a journey, let's say. So, and I think within what I do and my whole lived experience, and I take on different roles as a chair of Ekota, as a coach. I deliver sessions. As I work as a program director, a mother of 3, in all sorts of ways. I think what I'd say is my experience and what I bring to the table and my expertise around leadership. And I'm sort of keen to share that with individuals and I mentor lots of people and try to sort of share what I know and can help others. And so I guess I go on very quickly to, in terms of the whole theme of International Women's Day, and my Choose to Challenge. I think my Choose to Challenge commitment is to continue to challenge inequalities, which I do through my work and through the work I do, and continue to challenge the barriers for women through my work at Ekota Academy. And then if I were to share a message for our panel and the people listening in, based on my experience, I'd probably say be kind to yourself. I know it's really important to be, I guess, reflective and have that self-reflection. But I think women can be a little bit harsh on ourselves and a little bit self-critical. So what I'd say is value yourself, value what you bring to the table. You will bring something unique. And confidence is so key to this, and believing in yourself. And so, yeah, I think that would be my key message. Be kind, believe in yourself. And I like to think that is exactly what Ekota, through the various projects that we do and are planning to do, because we are planning to expand and grow bigger, that's one of our key messages. So I will end there, and I'll hand back to you. But I'm really looking forward to hearing what our other panel members have to say and hearing about their experiences. So I'll hand back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much there, Sultana, for that. I would like to go over to Kim Conrad, who, we would like to hear a little bit about, what this International Women's Day is about. But let me just tell you a little bit about Kim. Kim is a dynamic and inspiring example of what it's like to make it through anything. Having rebuilt her body and her life 3 times, spoken personally with people, over 1 million people apparently in her over 3 decades of business, combined her masters in psychology, exceptional intuition, energetic mastery, theatrical background. I can go on, but I would like Kim to actually tell us, everyone here, and share, and something for us to learn, if we don't know already, what is International Women's Day about? So over to you, Kim.
Okay, thank you so much. International Women's Day first emerged from and became a holiday because of labor movements in the early 1900s in North America and Europe. It was officially recognized by the United Nations in 1977. Its seeds, though, actually began much earlier, in 1848, when women were barred from speaking at an anti-slavery convention. Americans Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott congregate a few hundred people at their nation's first women's rights convention in New York. Together, they demand civil, social, political, and religious rights for women in a declaration of sentiments and resolutions. A movement was born. International Women's Day is a day when all women are recognized for their achievements and contributions. The growing international women's movement, which has been strengthened by 4 global United Nations women's conferences, has helped make the commemoration a rallying point to build support for women's rights and participation in the political and economic areas. So ladies of all ages, this day is in celebration and acknowledgement for you, for your existence, for your unique gifts, capabilities, dreams, and visions that you came here to give birth to. Know, without question, you are of value. You are worth it and always have been. We've made progress, and it's time for more. And together with all of us, all of life, and this planet, we rise.
Thank you, Kim. That was very, very touching. Before I go on to my next guest, I will, however, like Kim to give her little message before we move on as well. But I think I just went diving deeply into what you were just saying there. So, Kim, please, what is your other inspiring and empowering message that you have for us all today?
Okay, you've mentioned a little bit, so I'll cut a little bit further down. There are two platforms of living that are foundations of my choosing to challenge, having rebuilt my body and my life 3 times, this last time from a serious head injury in a car accident. The first one is this: whatever I find myself in and going through, I choose to listen, see, collaborate, reorganize, and step out again, finding my way and creating greater value than any cost for myself and the world around me. The second is that I come out better than before. If I'm going to go through it, I'm going to come out better than before. I tend to be a very organic processor. I feel and sense my way. I ask, how is it that I can come out better than before? I live this to the very core of my chemistry, so that my body, my feelings, my thoughts, and my spirit align to bring my life and me to being better than ever before. Sometimes that means going faster. Sometimes it means taking what I call a power pause and readjusting, aligning, and going forward. I'm going to share this story from when I was at the end of my trial by jury as the plaintiff, the injured person in the car accident case. We were at the end of the trial. The jury was deliberating. I was laying down on a couch in the judge's break room across the hall from the trial room. I was not able to function well enough at that time to be in the courtroom all the time. So I'd been given this gift of a room to rest in. I was grateful no judges stopped by to say hello while I was there. I was laying there, the jury was deliberating, and my body was going nuts. I knew that I had to choose another experience. Real, totally and completely a different reality than the regular interpretation that I created for me. If I put whether I won or lost in the jury's hands, my life was in their hands, and that was not okay. So I chose that I knew that I had won, regardless of their decision. I had won because I made it through. I chose, along with my body, together with spirit, we created this is our living embodied reality. I was called back into the courtroom. The jury had made their decision. I sat down with my lawyers, and I had won. Not a lot, but enough to pay all of my legal and accrued medical bills. For a plaintiff to win was highly unusual. And my life is about being true to the differences I came designed to make. Great challenges cause us, when we choose, to find the greatness within to meet them. I would like to offer 2 gifts posted on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Kim Conrad Visionary. One is a poem I call The Risk Taker. This is about taking risks, choosing to challenge. And the other is an inspiring video about collaboration and peace on earth called Being For. So I invite us all to be for yourself, for your world, and for this planet. You are worth it. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for that. That was very powerful. Well, I have Aliyah Chowdhury, founder and CEO of Neutralia, also I don't know if many of you are aware, but she is one of the world export champion, female and of Bangladeshi origin. And I'm excited to hear what Alia Chowdhury will bring to us today for that inspiration and empowerment. So welcome, Alia Chowdhury.
Thank you so much for having me on here. And it's such an honor to be amongst some really amazing women. And Kim, your story is really inspiring. So thank you very much for sharing that. I've been in business. I started my first business when I was 24 years old. I had an adult education training center, which I ran for about 10 years. I got to a stage where I couldn't excel with my skill sets, so I left and then I went traveling just to build my skills. And I did a lot of international work as well, doing lots of research projects. I then came back and decided what did I want to do, and I wanted to develop another business because I was supporting lots of small businesses start up, and I decided that I needed to think about what it is that I really wanted to focus on, and health was one of those aspects that I started to look at because of lots of friends and myself also. When you sometimes go through transition in life, you sometimes go through stress, anxiety, and then people can fall into depression. So I decided I didn't want to fall into that trap, and instead I conducted a couple of studies around stress, anxiety, and depression. I then qualified as a holistic therapist and then went on to study and became a nutritional therapist. I set up Neutralia. Neutralia is a halal, plant-based, botanical herbal supplement brand that today is a really good day for us as well, because we're celebrating 4 years since its inception. And I still feel that we are still a startup business. Last year, when the pandemic hit, we had to kind of like go back to the drawing board and decide we need to take the brand online and become more on the virtual world, on the platforms, the marketing platforms that are out there. So I had no clue about online, how the media worked online. I didn't even have a Facebook page that was very that I was on there, and I wasn't even populating that. So it was a real learning curve. If anybody goes onto our website, you'll notice I'm quite proud of it because I developed that and learned how to use and how to use the online platforms. I set that up, and it's been a real journey for me. And we went live with the website on the 1st of January. I also became an export champion last year, so I was supported by the Department of International Trade. And what I want to do is encourage more women that are in business that want to take their brand global to get in touch. And, probably through Ekota as well. And on myself, I'm on LinkedIn. And I can help support them take their brand global as well. That's what we're doing with our brand. And hopefully look forward to this year coming and the years ahead of us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Alia. Wow. So many amazing stories. We can all clap, ladies, if don't hold back. I have another lovely young lady, Natalie King, confidence coach, to empower individuals to find their superpowers and choose to become confident. So everyone, I will take you over to welcome Natalie King.
Good evening, everyone, and it's so great to be here. I'm very honored to be in the presence of great, inspiring women. I've been listening to the stories and I'm like thinking, why am I here? But I was invited, and as I often tell my clients, is stand in your own power. Know your expertise and own who you are. And this is something that I want to pass on is I've come from a place of being badly bullied at school and in every job that I had and had no confidence whatsoever. And I had to make a choice. We talk about choices and having the choice. I had to make a choice, carry on and going in the direction I was going in and being miserable and not achieving anything, or make a choice to step into my power. It sounds easy. It's taken me a few years to get to this point, but it's about making a choice. Choose to challenge. Choose to challenge yourself. Choose to challenge your perceptions or your ideas or the beliefs that you're holding right now to see, are they the right ones? Are they serving you well? Or can you make a change? Choose to challenge. As a confidence expert or coach, I have been studying confidence. Now, confidence is something that we have within us, but I have been studying the effects that confidence has on the brain, on us, ourselves, and how you can change your life or the life of people around you through developing your confidence, through making the choices that you need to make in order to challenge yourself to become more confident. It is a journey that you go on, and like any journey, there are ups and downs, but the scenery is great, and just think of the destination that you're going to arrive at. Blake Lively has given a quote that says, the most beautiful thing you can wear is confidence. As women who we like to dress nicely and have our lippy on, it's purple today, in honor of purple for International Women's Day, glitter, everything. These are great garments that we can wear. But why not wear your confidence? Put on your cape of confidence and have that superpower. You can make that choice. Choose to challenge yourself and make the choices that you need to make. My challenge to myself this year is about helping to, I'd like to say, eradicate inequality, but I think that's going to be a good few years to happen. But to follow in the footsteps of the suffragettes who started this journey in the early 1900s, and those in America as well before that, and just stand on their shoulders, take their wisdom and all the people that come behind me to help those in front of me who can stand on my shoulders and keep passing this on. So I choose to challenge myself in finding ways that I can help be a shoulder for somebody to stand on, like I'm standing on shoulders behind me. And don't forget, choose to challenge yourself and the ways that you are thinking, because you are in control of your decisions, your choices, and we do have a choice. Let's use it. And I just want to say thank you so much for this honor of being here in purple. I love purple, it's one of my favorite colors. Being here amongst these amazing women and the glitter of SABIA. I mean, amazing. But it's been great to see you. And I look forward to hearing the rest of your stories.
Brilliant. Thank you, Natalie. Wow, that was amazing. That takes me to Sharon Ray, who is a founder, director for New Way Networking International. This woman is constantly pushing boundaries to create change with a simple message of education plus information equals empowerment. So to Sharon Ray.
And thank you for having me. My story begins a long time ago, but we'll shorten it for expedience sake this evening. I On the 26th of February, 2004, I remember looking at my children, my then 2 children, thinking, am I going to see you grow up? Putting my 3-year-old in a bath, saying, am I going to see you go to school? You see, that day I was told I had 3 months to live. Just celebrated my 17th anniversary. Every day I choose to challenge myself. Every day I choose to challenge the others around me. The reason why I do that is because I believe in the power of change. I believe in the power of thought. And I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to speak about tonight. But as I'm sitting here listening, the word belief came to mind. And I believed that I would see my eldest daughter grow up. I believed that I would see my grandchildren. I didn't know I was going to have a 3rd daughter a year and a half later, but I did. She's now coming up to 16. The daughter that I was bathing that night, she's now nearly 22. So you see the power of belief. Now, that illness is still there, and it's joined by many more. So every day I have to choose to challenge myself. Those that are close to me know I've just come out of hospital. I've been ill for about 6 weeks. Every day I chose to challenge. Yesterday, I spoke at the launch of one of the countries that I am launching my company with my fellow director to in the coming week. I spoke to governments. I spoke to teachers. I spoke to head of committees. And I got them to accept the message that education plus information equals empowerment. At the age of 50, the age that I didn't think I would make it to, I eventually finished training. Successful corporate career. I realized that everything came down to the power of the mind. Oh, and don't forget the spirit, because it's the spirit that is the unbreakable part of you. It is the spirit that keeps you whole.
Okay.
In the last number of weeks, months, years, I've been faced with challenges, up and down, in and out. I have a wheelchair that's parked in the hall, and every day I say, not today. The power of belief has kept me walking, sometimes just. People say, why do you choose to challenge? Why did you choose to launch a multinational company? Why not just start in the United Kingdom? Because I believe in empowering people. I believe in educating people. I believe in empowering women, as we're talking about women here today, to achieve their best life, to realize that with education and information, they can achieve anything. The projects that we are working on in some of the countries include working with adult illiteracy, working with craftswomen who spend years working on projects and not getting paid enough, ensuring that they get paid enough, ensuring that they get the value of what their product is worth, ensuring that women know their value, ensuring that they know that they deserve respect, that they deserve integrity, they deserve trust, they deserve belief, they deserve it all. Now, this week, I'm launching in one of the Asian countries, and I'm launching in the North American continent. 2 totally different opposites. And what am I doing in North America? My youngest daughter has been a carer for me for quite a few years. And I discovered that in America, there's no association for young carers. So that's what we're doing. Each country we go into, we find what needs to be done. It doesn't matter whether it's digging a water well to ensure that people have clean water to live. But this is all funded on a business network where we educate, empower, inform, and empower the business person to create their best life, their best business. Through my expertise of breaking through glass ceilings to reaching international director level status at the age of 28, to in 2001 being asked to relocate my business from Ireland to the United Kingdom because they wanted the concept in the UK, to opening many companies, many businesses over the years. Failures as well, yes, because to get to success, you have to go through failure. You have to choose to challenge. We have the choice. We have the choice to create. We have the choice to change. We have the choice to believe. And above all, we have to choose to believe in ourselves, that we can achieve whatever we set out that day, that week, that month, that year. Don't be afraid to dream. We only limit ourselves by the limits we put on ourselves. So I leave you with this message. Choose to challenge your limits. Take them away. Take away your limits, because without those limits, you are limitless. You can create, challenge, and do whatever you dream.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't think we should have any limits, ladies. So we've just heard it from Sharon there. So without limitations, I take you over to Shahida Rahman, who is an author, a writer of historical fiction and children's stories. She's also a trustee of Cambridge Central Mosque and the Karim Foundation. I would like you all to give a warm welcome to Shahida Rahman.
Good evening, ladies. Really lovely to be here today, and thank you for the intro, SABIA. I just want to tell you my journey, really, my difficult journey. And I think, as with all the ladies that we've heard today, no journey is ever easy. I think you have to face challenges to be able to be successful. And this is exactly what I went through. But I think 10 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined to be where I am today. I was born in Cambridge. I was raised there. My father came to Cambridge from East Pakistan in 1957, and then my mother followed in 1964. And we think my mother was probably the first Sylheti to settle in Cambridge, the first Sylheti woman to settle in Cambridge. My three brothers, my twin sister, we were born in Cambridge. And my father was a successful businessman. He opened 2 restaurants at the time. He passed away when I was 13 years old. But I think with this year, it's quite interesting because Bangladesh will be 50 years old. And that will be on the 26th of March this year. And I was born just 2 days before Victory Day, which was on the 16th December 1971, and that was Victory Day. And our birth was remembered at the time when Bangladesh, East Pakistan, it was they were approaching the end of the 9-month war, and we've seen the community grow in Cambridge. So, as Sabia said, I write historical fiction. My novel Lascar was published in 2012. It took me 6 years to finally secure a publisher. It took a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance. Any author will tell you the same story. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, but I believe that I could do it at that time. It was a journey that I never expected to go through. I never imagined to become an author. I got married off at the age of 18, had an arranged marriage in Bangladesh. I've been married for nearly 31 years now, and I've got 4 children. I've got 3 sons and a daughter. And what I have grown to see and also taught my children is our identity and culture. to hang on to our roots and to really understand where our parents came from. Because my father worked very, very hard, and I don't want my children to forget that. And I think it's really, really important for us to remember their journey as well, because I wouldn't be here today if my parents weren't successful back in their day. So we've got over 60 years of history in Cambridge. So my novel, as I said, was published in 2012. And I think it was a beginning of a journey where I got to meet a lot of people, be able to make connections. And I did my own marketing, basically. It was a difficult journey. It was a lot of trial and error, you know, what worked, what didn't. But I think I had to try that to be able to understand what publishing is about, it's, you know, what the journey is to be an author. And 10 years on, I'm still writing, which is, you know, fantastic. It's something that I enjoy. And I've written a set of children's books as well. And I made the lead character a little Asian girl, which we don't see in a lot of children's books. And I just want to go back to the point about suffragettes, because I spoke about them in Cambridge. I particularly spoke about the Asian suffragettes on International Women's Day about 3 years ago. And that was a story where we don't hear much about. You know, we talk about the suffragette movement, but what about the Indian women who were involved at the time in England? And it's just something I wanted to research further, and that developed into the next book that I wrote, and I'm hoping that'll be published very, very soon. And I sort of focus on South Asian history because for me, I feel that's really important. It's an area where I want to focus on. So Lascar, I'll just briefly tell you, that was set in the 1860s. It's Lascars were Asian seamen who traveled to England. They worked on board British steamships. They helped with the British trade, the East India Company. And it's one man's journey who came from East India and he settled in Victorian London. And it tells the story of how difficult his life was, the challenges that he faced. And, you know, please do check out my website. There's more information about my work. But when we talk about, you know, choosing to challenge, I want to choose to challenge gender bias and misogyny, because I think, as with any woman, and not just me, as with all women around the world, we still face that today. You know, every year we have International Women's Day. We talk about, we're going to challenge, you know, that we look at what women are still faced with today. And it's year after year, we're still seeing that there are women out there who are still not having their basic human rights. And for me today, I think it's important to remember them. You know, we are the fortunate ones, but for those who are still facing those challenges, we need to come together and help them and speak for them. And with also my journey, I've also found that I want to have a voice, and I don't want someone else to have that voice for me. I want to be able to go out there and use my voice in the correct way, in the right way, and not just be heard in a different way, you know, in a preachy way. But I think it's just to show that, you know, we are women and we can really do what we want to do. And, you know, it's the way to make us strong and to go forward and hopefully help others. I'm very fortunate to be one of the trustees of the Cambridge Central Mosque. I'm one of 2 female trustees. It's Cambridge's first purpose-built mosque, Europe's first eco-mosque. I'm sure you've all heard a lot about that. And I just feel very, very proud to be part of that, because women are still not heavily involved in many mosques in and around the UK. And I feel privileged to have that honour to be able to do that. And just recently we set up the Carrying Foundation in my father's name. That developed from last year's first lockdown. We help people, for those who have been particularly affected by the pandemic, with food and fuel support. So my brother and I, we run that together. It gave us an opportunity to really help those who are, less fortunate than us. And I think that's just one of the things that I do, that I'd like to do, is to help people. I'm also an advisor to the trustees of the Museum of Cambridge, because for me also that's important to get our history archived, to record our heritage. I've also set up with my son Ibrahim the Cambridge Muslim Heritage, because we're trying to discover stories of Muslims before the 1960s. Who were they out there? We've discovered a couple of graves in Cambridge, and it actually says on their gravestones East Pakistan. So we're doing more research on that. We want to find the lost lives, the lost people who are actually in Cambridge. So I have one daughter, she's 17. She's also a spoken word poet. She does her own work. And I've taught her, please use your voice. We're a woman. She's a young woman. She's learning to understand what it's like to have that voice. And she does a lot of poetry. And you might also be interested to know that she's also featured on the International Women's Day website. Her name's Amina. So please do check that out. She created a poem that she also performed. But it was great for her to have that platform, because I think it's, again, making our voices heard. So, let's come together, let's celebrate, and let's be part of something wonderful every year.
Definitely.
So that's my message.
Thank you so much for that. It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. Okay. There's so much to take in there. It's just wonderful. I will take you to another amazing lady. Her name is Amila Begum. She's a radio presenter. Woo! A very popular weekly women's hour. It's on Unity FM 93.5 in Birmingham. So she is a passionate and dedicated humanitarian philanthropist. And I will take you all over to Amila.
Thank you so much, Sabia. Good evening and greetings, ladies. So nice to see so many inspirational women, and thank you to Ekota Academy and to Sabia for inviting me and for bringing this platform together. So I've got 2 to 3 minutes to encapsulate 26 years of my life and what I'm about to share with you. So let's try this. The ratio of that, I'm going to have to speak mega fast, or I'm going to have to cramp everything in. So I'm going to go for the latter. So let's talk about women. One thing that us women have, many of us, are our periods. So let's say the word periods without being ashamed of it, because we're all women here, and it's okay. When it's aired, I'm not sure how the other half of the mankind creation, men, are going to cope with that. But yes, so I started my period at the age of 10. And I was actually in Bangladesh when this happened. So when we talk now about period poverty, I really have an insight and understanding into what that's all about. But that's a topic for another day. My periods were very bad. They were heavy, very painful, heavy to the point where I was leaking a lot. They were very irregular, and I had a lot of fatigue. And I carried on, as you do. You grit it and you get on, and everybody says, oh, all women have period, take a few paracetamols and you'll be okay. And as I aged, as time went, I realized that something's not right here. So I'm going to go and get some medical input. So I went to speak to my GP. I got sent for my first scan in September 2011. And that was around about the age of 34, 35. And I had been probably suffering for about 20 years before I went forward and said, right, I want to do something now. Nothing was picked up at my scan, so no surprise there. After several hospital and gynecological appointments and number of scans, all I kept being told is nothing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. We can't find anything. So now I'm thinking, let's try and figure out what's going on here. Is this an invisible disease? Is there something missing? I actually don't know what's going on. Partway through my career of becoming a solicitor during my training contract in March 2017, 3 years ago, my health started to significantly deteriorate. the bleeding and the symptoms were getting worse. They were getting out of control. There was no more cycle. There was no more knowing. It was constantly, I don't know if I'm going to have my period now. Is it going to come now? And planning a social life, planning a work life, planning a normal life became very, very difficult. So I went back to my GP and I said, look, I need to have another referral. Let's get me referred again. So I got referred to a hospital and I went to see them in September 2017. And again, lots of scans, nothing was being picked up. So I thought, right, enough is enough. I'm going to go to Dr. Google because let me see what Dr. Google comes up with. So I'm sitting there putting all my symptoms into Google, as you do. You know, it's a fantastic resource and tool for us to research things. And there's this disease that kept coming up. And for the life of me, I couldn't pronounce it. So I had to put it into, you put it into the dictionary and then you write, like, read it out aloud. So it's like endometriosis. I was like, okay, right. So I still couldn't pronounce it back then. I've had years of practicing now, so I'm really good at pronouncing it. If any of you ladies don't know how to pronounce it and you want to look up the topic, endo will suffice. Google's up to date with us on that. So I went back to my GP and this time I printed out this page from Google and I said to my doctor, that's it. That's the thing there. That's what I think I have. I can't pronounce it. I'm sure you can, but can I get referred for this? And I got referred again back to the same hospital. Now, endometriosis is a disease that affects here in the UK 1.5 million women. That's the same amount of people who are affected by diabetes, yet a lot of people do not know what endometriosis is. There's not a lot of attention on it. 176 million women worldwide are affected. They say it's 1 in 7, but actually, if you think about the number of women who aren't coming forward, it's probably 1 in 4 women. If we look at our social circle, there's so many of us who have endometriosis and we don't talk about it because periods are something we are not encouraged to talk about. It's a taboo topic. Hide it, grit it, get on, take some paracetamols like everybody else does. Why are you different? Endometriosis is a tissue similar to the lining of the womb. It starts to grow in other places, like the bowels, the bladder, the uterus, other organs, kidneys. It's even been known to go into the brain. So it is a very serious disease. And it affects not just women, it affects young girls as young as 8 I've come across who are affected by this disease. And to no surprise, it takes 7 to 10 years to get a diagnosis. And I say to no surprise because it's a woman's disease. And I will come on to a comment that I have to share with you later on. After Pal's intervention at the hospital, 2 different hospitals and around 8 different gynecological consultants, I was able to finally get listed for an investigative laparoscopic surgery. After my surgery, which took place on the 29th of March 2018, by which point I had to leave the law firm because I was no longer able to work. I physically could not get into work. I left my jobs. I was doing very, very little work just to make ends meet. After my laparoscopic surgery, I came out of surgery and I was told there's nothing wrong with you. We couldn't find anything gynecologically. Went for my follow-up appointment and she said, look, there's nothing wrong with you gynecologically. Let's try and go down the route of antidepressants. And this was my first choose to challenge moment because I had to challenge myself first to say, no, antidepressants isn't what I need because I'm right up here. It's down there in my reproductive part of my body that I'm not right. So I'm not going to go for antidepressants and I'm going to listen to my gut and I'm going to follow my instincts through. Did a bit of research, found myself another consultant in Surrey, bearing in mind I live in Birmingham. Got in touch with, this was 2 weeks after my laparoscopic surgery, managed to get myself a referral and booked in, who's an endometriosis specialist. And I went to see him. I took my images, this was in July 2018, took my images from the laparoscopy at the surgery where they told me there's no endometriosis. And he looked at the images, they were black and white images, and he said, that there is endometriosis. I had a sigh of relief because I thought, right, it's not here. There is something going on. And I was very, very angry and very, very annoyed at the hospital that was about to put me on antidepressants and say, get on with it. And had I not chosen to challenge myself, to listen to my instincts and listen to my body, I don't know what state I would have been in today. I then went on to choose to challenge medical professionals, the general public, family and friends around the whole idea of endometriosis, and helping women to get a diagnosis, helping women to be listened to, helping women to understand what's going on. In June 2019, I went on 4th of June 2019 was actually Eid day. I went on and had a hysterectomy, and I'm much better now. And I am back into full-time work in the humanitarian sector. And one of the things that I've done as part of my Choose to Challenge, I do awareness campaigns. I challenge government by going to government parliamentary events, APPGs, roundtable discussions, and challenge the government and decision makers on how resources need to be distributed and given towards research on endometriosis and finding a better diagnosis and treatment. I joined up with the Endometriosis Foundation, a charity very much in its infancy still. Come on board as a director there, which I do voluntarily, and we do a lot of work around raising awareness and campaigning. And they say that a challenged world is it's an alert world. And if we don't talk, I talk at events. I co-authored a book where I wrote about my journey with endometriosis. I talk about endometriosis all the time on my radio. Women's group, I attend hospital appointments with ladies and GP appointments, and I run monthly support groups. And if men had endometriosis, there would be a walk-in center in every city, opened 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and every year, not even closed on Christmas Day or New Year's Day, because this is where the gender disparity comes. Because it's a woman's disease, not the medical professional, the research, or the government funding. It's because in our own homes, in our own communities, and I've seen this across all sectors. It doesn't matter what it's not an Asian thing or a Muslim thing. I've seen it with everybody. We don't talk about our periods. It's a taboo subject. Choose to challenge, listen to your body, say the uncomfortable words, say heavy periods, because unless we start saying them more and we start talking about it, the younger girls who are to come and the women who are suffering now will continue to suffer. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. You are one brave lady. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm sure everyone will agree here on that. This takes me to Asma Islam. Councillor Asma Islam. She is the Cabinet Member for Environment and Public Realm. She is environmental enforcement, and she tackles climate emergencies as well as work with licensing policy and trading standards. And I feel proud to take you all over to Councillor Asma Islam. Welcome.
Thank you, Sabia. It's absolutely amazing to be here today with all these lovely, wonderful women, but it's also very difficult to come in between these fantastic women that have spoken before me. I almost feel like I've made a mistake by accepting this invite because I'm not sure my story is inspirational. It's definitely a story, so I'm here and I'll share it anyway. So growing up in Tower Hamlets in Bromley by Bow, unfortunately, one of the most deprived boroughs in London, in the UK. Coming from an Adashi family, my father worked all his life. Like when we were growing up, we hardly saw my dad, sometimes holding down 2 jobs, just to keep the family going. So my mum, who's mostly my inspiration, has raised us almost single-handedly, and there were 7 of us. In Bromley by Bow, there was an amazing set of women that supported each other. So I grew up watching how my mum's friends, this group of women, actually, they helped each other out. They started with the Bromley by Bow Centre, which is one of the voluntary sectors here in Bromley by Bow. They would have these ESOL classes that helped improve their English. They will take turns in childcare. They'll make sure that we're involved in after school clubs so that our mums could have that little bit of time to themselves. So growing up, watching that progress where my mum could not speak English and my early years, me coming out of school to take my mom to doctors or the bank, to be able to translate. And then the latter part of like early teenage years, my mom was able to actually go to the doctors, be able to do everything by herself, because these ESO classes, these women that helped, boost her confidence, boost her to learn things, she was able to do these things all by herself. Watching this, I just assumed that the world worked like this. This is how everyone worked. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Growing up, going into secondary school, I realized, watching other peers around my age, how their parents did not have perhaps the support system that my mum had. They themselves struggled trying to support their family. And quite often in Tower Hamlets, if I may say so, we tend to settle for less. We think just about getting through is okay. And I was never okay with that. Probably because my mom never put any limits on me or us on what women can and cannot do. She had 5 girls first, and then my brothers came towards the end. So having my mom, who was the leader of the house, having my nan, my aunt, I've always grown up watching what women can do, and there was no limit. So I was in a bit of a complex situation where the surrounding wasn't quite living up to the expectation of what women can do. And so I really, really wanted to do something about it. And I knew that really early on, maybe early 13, 14 years old, I wanted to do something. I didn't know what, but I just knew I needed to do something. I was 16 when 9/11 happened. And for me, that was probably one of the biggest turning points in my life, where I actually really realized what it meant to be Bangladeshi, to be Muslim. Growing up in the UK, I literally watched things change overnight. The rise of Islamophobia, the uncertainty, at some point, I think I was quite embarrassed of my surname and applying for jobs, and, how people would judge me. All of that had creeped in. And I really, really desperately wanted to see lots of role models. I wanted to see role models in politics, mainly. I wanted people to speak up for what was going around me. And I struggled. And I did not find anyone on TV that was given enough airtime to speak about issues that were relating at the time. So politics it was. I knew I wanted to do politics. But I've always worked in the community sector. So I've always been around people, helping the community, and having, I got married, had children. Unfortunately, some of my responsibilities meant that I could join politics a bit later, which was fine. In my head, I knew I was going to do something and I was going to do it. It's just at my own time when I was ready. My husband, who happened to be a councillor before me, so he stood in the elections in 2006, became a councillor first. And then I joined around 2014 when I started to become active within my political party, got involved that way. And as soon as I came, a big hit of what it really meant to be a woman in politics trying to do something. I was too ambitious. I was pushing too many boundaries. I was a wife of a husband who was a councillor, and that's how I was known. I did not have my own identity. The fact that I wanted to do politics as well, it was just not comprehensible for some people. It's like, if his wife's his wife, then it must be because he's done politics and she's trying to follow his footsteps. And so I had to work hard, really, really hard, to try and create a platform for myself, try to prove that actually my politics is very different. I'm a different person. I work equally hard. I create my own, I've created my own name for myself, that actually I'm a different identity. I love my husband. I love my dad. I love my family, but actually I do want to do something for myself, and I do stand for myself, and I stand for lots of other women, because like I was at one point where I was looking desperately for people that represented me, that looked like me. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that my children and younger girls that are growing up, they didn't have to struggle to find role models that looked like them or sounded like them. Luckily enough, things did change, and I've got some positive feedback to give back on the borough of Tower Hamlets. In 2010, we elected our first Bangladeshi female MP, Rushnara Ali. We are now at page 2021, where we have 19 female councillors in the council. We have 2 deputy mayors out of the 3 who are female. We have 7 female cabinet members out of 11. And both our MP seats in Tower Hamlets are filled by 2 wonderful, powerful, strong Bangladeshi women. And so things have changed. We've all played our part. And I feel for me, it's always been about just carrying on and just not stopping and believing in when you believe in something is right, when you believe that we need that representation, when you believe that there aren't enough of us around, especially in places of decision making, then you just carry on. You just make sure that you do well, you leave behind a body of work that other women can use. We're able to share our resources. And that's one thing I constantly try and work at, is making sure that it's not just about me, that there is lots of young girls and women that want to enter public life and want to do this. And so that's my small little story there.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Asma. Wow. I don't know what to say. It's that big word, belief, isn't it? You know, that message I think needs to be emphasized throughout. So great. I actually have next with me a beautiful mother, Shahnaz Parvin, who's a health and wellness coach, an active mum of 3 boys. She will tell us how she manages fitness and healthy eating with children. So can we all welcome Shahnaz Parvin?
I kept my profile a bit low, but now listening to everybody, I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what to say. You honestly listen to everybody's story. It just makes you think, you know, there's no limit. Once you put your mind to something, you can do whatever you want. I, believe it or not, had no interest in fitness or health. I come from a background where I've always worked in education all my life. And after getting married and having kids, after my first pregnancy, my body changed, and which was expected, but it changed in a way where my confidence started to deteriorate. I developed diabetes. I gained an enormous amount of weight. I was hiding myself away. I had no idea, no understanding anything to do with diet, fitness, or nothing. I just never had to kind of like look down that. I always ate what I ate and kind of took my body to advantage, so to say. So after motherhood, my firstborn, it took me a year to recover. I had a C-section, I had a really difficult pregnancy, and I tried everything, and I was trying to find a solution, a way to just gain my confidence back again. I was one of those people where I'm like, any cameras on me, it's like, no, seriously, take it away, to that degree where I was just hiding myself away. So I was just trying to find a method. You know, I started eating healthy, I started working out. Nothing was working, and I just needed guidance. And so I kind of like started to, someone said about education, and the education is so important, you know, just spend time, try to understand what it is that you're going to, trying to find a process, trying to find a solution. And I think everyone's journey is different. So me, I looked into it. I tried to find a method. Until today, I always say that, you know, the greatest role models in your life is people around you. My sister always said to me that, look, you know, I can see you're working really hard. You know, there's this method, this kind of company you can try out. And thank goodness I did. So I lost the weight. I lost like 3 stone trying out this diet. And after losing weight, I wanted to help those moms who hide themselves away and think there isn't a way, there isn't a solution, there isn't things you can do. So I went into the same industry and became a consultant. It's coming up to 9 years now. I've been in the health wellness industry. Since I've been in it, I've been in above and beyond award winner. I've been in the top health consultancy. I started blogging when I had my youngest, which I never thought I'd do, because I was always, you know, shying away from the camera, and I just wanted to be more productive, and I wanted to give more value to myself and the people. And I started blogging online, and just suddenly out of the blue, it's only been 3 years, and I just kind of gained like coming up to almost over 9,000 followers on Instagram. And I wanted to give more value to my clients, you know, and I wanted to give more value to credibility to what I do. And then I started to study more. So I became a nutrition coach, currently doing my PT, and also doing my nutritionist coach just to give more credibility. And it was all started from my own journey because I was struggling and I wanted to educate myself. I wanted to kind of like know what I'm talking about, help myself before I help others. And now, alhamdulillah, I'm sitting and inspiring so many other moms, helping them build their confidence, showing them a way where you can do it, how you can make your life easier. I've got 3 young boys, and those who have boys know how challenging it is. But even with those boys, I kind of make my presence and I kind of do things and I vlog every single day to show that, you know what, this pandemic has taught us nothing is more important than your health. And, you know, sometimes as a mother, it feels selfish to look after ourselves and prioritize ourselves, which is something we've always put on ourselves at the bottom of the list and prioritize our kids. But if you don't look after yourself and mental health, everything else falls in place. And you watch when you're sick, everything will stay in its own place, you know, and you're sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, hoping that someone can understand how you feel. The deep down story, more of the story is everyone's got their own lives. So the person who should look after yourself is you. So, you know what, choose to make yourself special. And I think the starting statement was be kind to yourself. It's so important. If you believe you can do something, go out there and do it, because there's no limitation. Like I said, I came from a background in education and suddenly I'm like, you know, sitting here and inspiring people, which I never thought is something I'd get into. I never do. But alhamdulillah, I'm doing it. And and recently I started my hijab journey as well. So loads of little transitions that's happened in my life. And I just wanted to come and say that, you know what, you guys are all amazing people. And anyone here who's sitting there thinking, you know, there's something that really missing in my life and I really wanted to do it, go and do it. You know, you live once, just go and make it happen. Thank you for listening.
Brilliant. Thank you. What an amazing mum that is, eh? Wow. I mean, just look at you ladies. I mean, I just feel so proud to be surrounded by, you know, all this amazing, extraordinary things that you all do and have experienced. I do have one other lady who I'd like to bring on to say something something about, I think she will be great at telling us something about resilience. Her name is Tula Chowdhury. She's a creative director, head of fashion operations and production at Sew It in London. So if I can request Tula Chowdhury to tell us a little bit about how she can give a message about inspiring and empowering the rest of us and our viewers out there.
I would just say, just get on with it. You know, if there's something that you want to do or you're itching to do, or, you know, you've got a passion to want to do, just don't sit on the fence. Just do it. I would say just do what you want to do. Listen to your inner self, because you'll find your inner self is right. You'll find that if you listen to yourself, you kind of will find the pathway to, you know, shall I say, your happiness. We as women, we get to an age and a point in our lives that when we want to do something, we want to do something that is satisfying. And one of the things I found in my career is finding a point where I'm not just doing something because I'm good at it. I'm doing something that I'm passionate about and that makes me happy. So I would say, you know, do something that you're, you know, passionate about, something that, you know, where you can make a difference. Yes, you know, helping other women, you know, inspiring other women. I would say, you know, truly, your inside is the thing that you need to be following. And it's very difficult for some of us, because I've listened to most of you, and you know, there's lots of things that I want to point out, like confidence. Sharon says something about confidence. That's something that I would say, you know, we need to listen to ourselves more. Find something that will help us with our confidence, because confidence building is something that, you know, I'm not saying all women, but some women do struggle with. And that is what holds us back. It's confidence. When you let go of that and you tune into yourself and, like, you know, know what you want to do, then, you know, your confidence grows. And with the confidence, you could do anything, you know. So, you know, I mean, I've been in Sew It in London. Like I've been the founder of Sew It in London for 3 years now. And my journey happened kind of like through, again, confidence building. It would go back to confidence building. I kind of like didn't know I had confidence to go out there and make a difference in the industry. Being a woman, being a Bengali woman especially, because it's a man's world, as far as I'm concerned. As growing up, it's our dads that worked in factories and stuff like that. I kind of took that plunge, you know. I'm not going to go into it too much. My family, you know, I've got, you know, mum, dad, they all came from the background of, you know, from the industry. So when it came to myself, and eventually I wanted to open Sew It in London, obviously I studied fashion and etc. and so forth, whatever. I had children, you know, I had lots of barriers stopping me from doing what I want to do today. But just to cut it short, I overcame a lot of barriers to get where I want to get today. And it wasn't an easy journey, let's just say. It was a very difficult journey. I've got 4 children on top of that. So it's jumping over those barriers, being a mum, being a great wife, being a great homemaker. You know, there were so many barriers I had to jump. And along the way, I did lose a lot of confidence in myself. Although I had lots of skills, I lost a lot of confidence. But my inner was saying, I want to do this, I want to do that. But, you know, these wanna things that I want to do were things that I was always passionate about. But it's the confidence. I had to break that confidence barrier and become, you know, within myself, you know, I had to, you know, get to a certain point in my life where I was confident enough to jump on this journey, which I'm still on. But yeah, I would just say, just, you know, listen to yourself, listen to your inner self, and, you know, the world is your oyster, really. You know, you can do it. And
thank you. Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Chula. That is, I mean, belief, confidence. I think we've got a whole line of panel here who have touched upon a little bit about all of that. I would like to ask Sultana Rahman if there are any final things that you would like to mention as the chair of Ekota before we wrap up. We are almost coming to the end of our event. So is there any final few things you'd like to mention, Sultana Rahman?
Yeah, just quickly wanted to say I think it's been amazing tonight to hear and share all your experiences. I thank everyone for their honesty and their sort of courage to talk very freely and openly and share their journeys. I've heard a lot today and I've learned a lot myself as well. I've really been inspired by all your stories. And there's so many themes that run through everything we're all saying that goes across from, you know, people spoke about confidence, that self-belief, that resilience, and overcoming and challenging ourselves, our communities and others, and just being limitless in what we can set ourselves to do and what we can do, and just remembering that. And that's definitely something that we, KHATUN encourage as part of the work we do with all the communities that we work with. And I just wanted to, again, thank you for sharing your stories with us. And I think it will feed in and help into the work that we're doing and hopefully sharing within our networks. And I hope that we can build on these discussions and keen to stay connected to all of you, really, and hopefully we can work with Ekota in different ways. So
thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank you all for your inspirational and empowering messages. Ekota Academy would like to thank Barking and Dagenham Council for supporting this event. And Ekota Academy would also like to invite you all over to a face-to-face event when we are permitted to be able to hold an event soon, safely. So watch this space, ladies, and everyone else out there who are watching and listening. Also, a challenge world is an alert world. From challenges comes change. So let's choose challenge, not only for today, but for every day. Be strong, be bold, be independent, be passionate. I would like to leave with, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. On that note, stay safe and stay blessed. Goodbye from me, SABIA KHATUN.